Hey everybody, it's Lyn from Lyn's Crafts. Today I've been playing around with trying to perfect some image transfers. It's not going well. I'm just using an inkjet printer with regular copy paper. There's lots of tutorials out there. There's lots of different mediums that you can try and use. What I've done is I started out with the Decou-Page photo transfer medium. Now it does say on the bottle that it works best with laser jet images, but I don't like to follow the rules. I've said this before. And then I've got the DecoArt medium, matte medium. So matte medium on these two, the photo transfer paper on this one. As you can see on these with the matte medium, it's a very clear medium. I've applied it in one stroke the best I could, not brushing over it because that'll streak the ink. I got a little streak of ink just under the nose, just a little bit. But as you can see, it keeps the image really clear. This is the matte medium. This is the photo transfer medium. And as you can see, I did the same one stroke method, but the ink bled a little bit. It's alright, but I would have preferred a clearer look. Like, look how crisp and clean these lines are compared to these. Alright, so I put two coats. I put a coat on, let it dry, put another coat on, let it dry. When I did this the first time on the strength test lamp, after I applied it to the foam board, I put another coat of the medium on, the Decou-Page photo transfer paper. Photo transfer medium. And I've stuck the image down, burnished it down really good, and then I left it. I forgot about it for like 2 weeks. It sat there. So that may have something to do with it. I'll have to do more testing to figure that out. These two, all I did was, using the Decou-Page, I put another layer on the foam board, or the polymer clay in this case. Then I turned the image over, burnished it down really good, and I let it dry for a couple of hours before I wet the back of it and remove the paper. The tricky part is knowing when to stop removing the paper. On these inkjet transfers, you're not going to be able to remove all of the paper and still get an image to transfer. I'll give you an example. This is what I did on black. And as you can see, the image is still there, but I rubbed too much of the paper away and it took the top layer of ink off. So that was not successful. These basically did the same thing, but I went back with a marker and added the detail back in. And of course then I put stickles in her hair and a little paint on her jewelry and stuff. This one I did the same thing. This one I didn't rub as much of the paper away. I started to get too much right in here, and I had to go back with the marker and fill it back in. And then I put some stickles and a little bit of iridescent medium on her eyes and on her dress. I'm going to put resin on these. Alright, so I'm going to try today to do the matte medium ones and see what happens. Alright, I've got a bit of white polymer clay. This is some white Primo rolled out, and I just rolled it out with my rolling pin. I didn't even use my pasta machine. One of these, I'm going to try doing, one of these matte medium ones, I'm going to try doing it on the raw clay and then bake it on there and see what happens. The other one, I'm just going to bake it first. going to try that. We'll see what happens. I'm going to bake this one piece, and I'll be back. Alright, I've got these out of the oven. I've got this one that I baked the transfer onto the raw clay. So we'll check that out in a minute and see how that turns out. And then I've got the other 2 tiles of baked clay. I'm going to do one and then rebake it. I'm going to do it on the baked clay. I'm going to do the transfer on the baked clay with the matte medium and see how that turns out. I'm sorry, I'm going to do that with the photo transfer paper. See how that turns out. And then I'm going to do the matte medium just on the raw clay. I'll figure it out eventually, I promise. Alright, this is the one that I'm going to rebake. It's the one I did the photo transfer medium by DecoArt. Since I've already tried this the way it suggests on the bottle, I'm just going to play around with it and see what else I can make it do. Alright, just checking it and making sure I hit all the spots. Trying to decide what angle I want it to lay. Maybe that'll work. Oh. Okay, yeah. And then I just slide it right around. I want the whole piece of clay to be covered with the image, hopefully. Yeah, that looks good. Alright. Now, if I just hold it down and kind of burnish it down. Alright, and then I'm going to rebake this one just for like 20 minutes. Alright, here's the first 2 I did from the first experiment. These were just done with the Decou-Page. And although I did rub the paper off a little too vigorously, I did go back with a marker and clean up some of my details. Added them back. Same thing on this one. Alright, so this is what we're going to try to do, but with less with less issues. These are the 3 that have come either out of the oven or have dried overnight. This is the matte medium one that I just stuck down to the baked polymer clay and let it dry. This has 3 layers of the matte medium. 2 on the paper that I let dry, and then 1 on the clay. I actually put it on the clay and on the paper, and then burnished it down. Let it dry overnight. This one is the Decou-Page that I've adhered down to the baked clay and then rebaked it. This one is the matte medium that I put on the raw clay and then baked it. So, I'm going to take my squirt bottle and squirt the back of each of these in succession. I'm going to go for the normal one first. So, let's see what happens. So squirt the back and let it sit for a second. Buddy, what are you doing? Okay, you don't want it really dripping wet, like I got it. You just want it to make the back of the image translucent. That means the water has saturated all the way through the paper. Alright, so I always feel a moment of hesitation before I do this. It does take a minute to get it going. There we go. Alright. Although I'm sure I don't have all the paper off, I'm going to stop right there and let it dry a bit. Alright, remember this is just the one with the matte medium glued down to the baked clay and then let dry. Now I know that I don't have all the paper off. I can feel a layer of the paper still on there. But I'm not going to try to get it off. I'm going to put a coat of a sealer, just probably a satin sealer, and that'll bring the colors back up, and then I'll put resin on it just like I did with these. Because on these I could still feel the paper as well. So there's number one. Alright, now let's try the Decou-Page that I did on the baked clay, but then I rebaked it in the oven. Alright, just let that set a minute. Now this is the one where, as you can see, the Decou-Page really did almost blur the image a bit. The ink just a bit. I didn't have that problem so much with the matte medium. Alright, if you just rub until you get the paper started, you can almost, okay, you can almost get it to roll off in a sheet, but only if you get it wet enough, I guess. And you've got to stop yourself if you see that you're smearing the ink at all. Especially the black. That seems to be the color that you'll smear first. Sorry, I'm rocking the camera. Alright, so there's a good start on that one. Alright, this one did pretty good. It seemed to hold on to at least the black outline a little bit better. Some of the purple color did come off a bit, but that's definitely doable. Alright. Alright, last but not least, we've got the one that I applied it to the raw clay. Alright, let that set for just a minute. Alright, this one was with the matte medium. Alright, I'm gonna let that set and dry for just... Alright, you can see I've left the paper on around the edge to show you I didn't get anywhere near all of the paper off. I only took off enough paper to get to the image. Alright, just a little trimming. It's still damp. Bit difficult to trim when it's damp. Alright, this one still has a little cleaning up to do. Alright, now I'll put a sealer on those and come back and show you the difference that it makes. Alright, a few methods for doing an image transfer with just an inkjet printer and copy paper using Decou-Page and Decou-Page photo transfer medium and matte medium. I've read several postings that the thinner the material you use to do the transfer with on an inkjet printer with a piece of copy paper, the more successful you'll be, because the thinner medium can penetrate into the paper easier and will hold on to the ink. Alright, but these are going to work for me. I'm really liking the results. I can go back on this one with a little bit of alcohol ink, Spectrum Noir markers, whatever, and even colored pencil would work before you put the resin on and touch up the color. Alright, super fun, super easy. Just don't take all the paper off. Alright, I shall holler at y'all later. Bye now.